Hey Sadukie, how do you learn about domain-driven design? I get questions from the community from time to time, and I wanted to tackle some of those questions here. As a trainer, I enjoy sharing my knowledge and taking harder concepts and making them easier to understand. But do you think I was born knowing the things I teach? No. Like you, I have to learn these things before I can tell others about them. So how did I learn about DDD originally? Well, NimblePros has been doing DDD for quite a while. When they brought me in on a project to help with some things, I was immersed into this culture of DDD. They were already doing DDD, they already were introducing DDD into the culture of the client, and also had it in the culture of the work. So a part of my DDD learning was by experiencing it. However, when I'm experiencing it, I also need to understand the concepts more solidly than just experience alone. Steve Smith and Julie Lerman have a course on Pluralsight that talks about DDD. Having learned from these two a lot over my career, I recommend this course when starting out. Now, someone said you don't need to read books to learn DDD, and I'm going to say that's not right. Books are great at helping you understand concepts, where they originated, and even visualizing the stories better. With regards to DDD, there are a bunch of books I recommend, so let's talk about those. First of all, there's the Blue Book, Domain-Driven Design, Tackling Complexity in the Heart of Software. This is the book behind it all, the first one, written by Eric Evans. He is the founder of Domain Language and the heart of DDD. He's not just an author, not just a thought leader, he's also a practitioner, so he's also doing this stuff. Next, after that book, the original book, then I recommend this one here, Domain-Driven Design Distilled by Vaughn Vernon. Especially as a parent in tech who doesn't have a lot of time to focus and read, this book is written in a way that you can take in the nuggets of the information in short bursts and don't have to read it cover to cover in one sitting. I recommend this book after Eric Evans' book, as DDD Distilled is more of a high-level overview and doesn't have enough meat to it to set foundational knowledge. It's great at giving high-level overviews of DDD terminology and concepts. However, throughout the book, it references another book, and that's the next book I recommend. And that's this one here, Implementing Domain-Driven Design, also by Vaughn Vernon. This one, as you can see, is not a quick read. At 612 pages, it's a lot to take in. The content can feel heavy, both literally and cognitively. As someone else suggested, this would be a good book for a book club to tackle chapter by chapter. The contents showcase how to implement various pieces of DDD and have examples that could be used in whiteboard discussions. There are 3 more books I recommend: Domain Storytelling, The Event Storming Handbook, and Event Storming. I love domain storytelling. It's a way to capture the stories of what's happening in the domain, and so you can see the systems and the processes around those systems. These steps are visualized in a way that non-technical viewers would be able to recognize their stories and retell them. The book on domain storytelling covers a scenario most people can relate to, and there are recommendations for the tools on how to implement domain storytelling in your processes today. As for event storming, this is my favorite topic. Why? Because I speak at events and enjoy facilitating event storming sessions. Alberto Brandolini is the father of event storming, and he and Paul Rayner both have books on event storming that are out there. And both books, while they are both unfinished, are still worth picking up. They get into big picture event storming and process modeling event storming. Both of them are a bit weak on system design event storming, but again, those books are unfinished. Paul Rayner's book is highly recommended for those who want to get into facilitating the discussions in event storming, and Alberto's book is just awesome for introducing the concept of event storming to others. Now, books in the DDD space, so whoever said they don't recommend those, I do, and I definitely recommend these ones in particular. Another way I learn about DDD is through the community. The DDD community is a treasure trove of learning nuggets. If you're in Europe, DDD Europe is your go-to, from training sessions and conferences and other things. But if you're here in the United States, I have to mention my shirt. It's Explore DDD. Explore DDD is the premier conference for networking with DDD practitioners and leaders in the space. In 2024, I was able to check out this conference and learn from some amazing practitioners, including Indu Elagarsamy, Diana Montelian, Vaughn Vernon, Eric Evans, Alberto Brandolini, Chris Richardson, Sonia Natanzan, Javier Lasso, Xin Yao, Jessica Kerr, Jackie Reed, Thomas Betts, Joseph Yoder, and more. Now, if you're preferring virtual networking, I highly recommend looking into virtual DDD. Many of the folks I mentioned earlier are also engaged with the community virtually. From speaking events to virtual conferences and Gather.town and even a book club while they're reviewing some of the books, they encourage enthusiast practitioners and experts to come together and share knowledge, learning from each other. In case I haven't mentioned their virtual conferences in Gather.town, they do them as open spaces. So people propose talks, people who want to talk about the topics meet in a room, and amazing conversations happen. So these are some of the ways on how I learned DDD and how I continue to learn and grow in DDD. It's an ever-growing community, and there's so many other people to learn from there. So this, my friends, is how I learned domain-driven design. Do you have a tech learning question for me that you want to see in a future video? Drop me an email at sarah.dukevich@NimblePros.com. If you want help implementing DDD or incorporating DDD into your culture, or help your devs understand DDD better, feel free to reach out to us at NimblePros, bit.ly/contactnp. We'll get you there. We look forward to working with you.